In this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into the career of one of the most entertaining players to grace the NBA court, Jason Williams, aka White Chocolate. Known for his flashy ball handling, no-look passes, and unconventional playing style, Williams' career spanned over a decade and left a lasting impact on the game. Join us as we explore the highs and lows of his career and celebrate the unique playing style of one of basketball's most polarizing figures. In almost 80 years of basketball, only a few non-All-Stars have turned heads and captured everyone's fancy. And make no mistake about it, Williams was one of them. There aren't many players in the NBA who can equal J. Will's talent and showmanship. He played the game in his own distinct way, impressing both fans and opponents alike. For him, every dribble and possession was a joy, and it seemed like everyone in the building was expecting something crazy when he handled the rock. What made Williams a cut above the rest as far as being entertaining is his unpredictability. The way his brain sees things is just different. He was wired different. He was known for attempting and making plays that no one else would even dare. And his highlight reels are filled with behind-the-back passes, crossover dribbles, and one-handed tosses that seem to defy physics. In many ways, J. Will was an ESPN highlight waiting to happen. How come he did things that way? It's simple. It started at an early age. He worked so hard for it that his playing style became who he is. J. Will spent so much time fine-tuning his ball handling skills that he could dribble without looking at the ball at only 4 years old. By the time he was in high school in Bell, West Virginia, he was already a passing and dribbling savant. Everything you've seen me do, I practice, so I don't think coaches really could say much, Williams said, responding to a question about whether his high school coaches tried to rein him in a little bit. Part of a player's persona, mystique, and individuality is the nickname. Williams has one of the sickest in basketball, White Chocolate. The moniker was given to Williams by a Sacramento Kings public relations assistant who, like all of us, was impressed by the guard's swagger. The employee, Stephanie Shepard, had front-row seats to the Jason Williams show in California's capital. "I came up with that nickname because of his style," Shepard said, per the New York Times. "He has flash and pizzazz. The way he does things with the ball is incredible to me. It reminds me of like schoolyard street ball when I go to Chicago. With the exception of some footage I've seen of Pistol Pete Maravich, I've never seen any white kid play like Jason. John Stockton is wonderful in his way, but Jason is like every kid I've seen on the playground." The description was spot on. From his very first season, Williams' jersey was selling like pancakes, ending up among the top 5 best sellers across the league, a testament to how fan-friendly his game has become. The guy was playing NBA Jam in real life, and any basketball court he stepped foot on was his personal playground. If there's one single play that exemplifies the crazy basketball style J. Will lived by, is the elbow pass. When everybody got a name for a play and the recipient did not even complete it, that's how you know it has reached legendary status. It was the Rising Stars Challenge in the 2000 All-Star Weekend festivities. Williams was in his second year and already got his feet wet on the NBA stage. At that time, he was already facing Kobe Bryant, Gary Payton, and John Stockton 3 or 4 times in a stacked Western Conference. Here's what happened. In transition, J. Will ran the break, with Dirk Nowitzki running on the right wing and Paul Pierce on the left. Rafe LaFrentz was trailing behind as Williams tried to manipulate the defender by looking away in Nowitzki's direction. As soon as Lamar Odom bid on the fake, Williams fired a pass off his right elbow to an unsuspecting LaFrentz. The Nuggets big man got fouled by James Posey, an anticlimactic ending to a literally iconic, once-in-a-lifetime basketball play. Never has a blown layup become this memorable. Despite helping put Sacramento on the map, the Kings front office apparently decided Williams was not conducive to winning basketball. At the time, you can't argue with the numbers and logic. J. Will was firing pull-up threes before it became cool, and on a ridiculous 5.5 attempts per game, shooting at a brutal 30% clip. To put that in perspective, Reggie Miller attempted 5.2 threes a game during that similar 3-year span, hitting almost 40% of his deep tries. Sacramento eventually traded Williams and Nick Anderson to Vancouver in exchange for Mike Bibby and Brent Price. Unbeknownst to him, this is the best situation he could have wished for, given the circumstances. The team relocated to Memphis in 2002, hired Jerry West as general manager, and tapped the services of Hubie Brown as the head coach. Under Brown, Williams began his transformation as a steady hand and a more mature player. Hubie Brown was one of the top 3, maybe top 2 coaches I ever played for, Williams told Fansided. When he took the job and we had our first team meeting, he had 3 rules as an NBA team. His 3 rules were know when to shoot, know when to pass, and be on time. If those 3 things were done, everything was smooth with Hubie Brown. Hubie Brown is the greatest. I love Hubie Brown to this day. Seeing Williams strut his stuff in the late 90s and early 2000s makes you think he played basketball in the wrong era. He will probably be embraced more in today's game, where the spacing is much better and the pace is much faster. Back then, many executives thought he brought more trouble than he was worth, primarily because his penchant for turnovers and ill-advised shots. Under Brown's tutelage in Memphis, his turnover numbers trended down. Of the top 10 players with the highest assists per game numbers from 2001 to 2005, Williams had the least turnovers per game at 2.3, just behind Gary Payton's 2.2. He also committed the least total turnovers with 648. When the Grizzlies decided to trade him to Miami in 2005, J. Will had already learned to be more in control. He played a massive role in the Heat's championship run in 2006, averaging less than 2 turnovers in the regular season and playoffs despite playing around 30 minutes. Williams also showed better shot selection, shooting a decent 44% from the field and 37% from beyond the arc in 2005 and 2006. He helped close out a tough Pistons team in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, dropping 21 points on 10 of 12 shooting, along with 6 dimes. To this day, J. Will still cherishes his part in hanging the first championship banner in Miami. That championship meant everything to me, Williams said. People said I would never get one. Opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has one. That's something that can never be taken away from me. Williams' last healthy season was in 2009-2010, playing under his first Miami Heat coach, Stan Van Gundy, this time in Orlando. He continued his efficient ways, but sadly, knee issues piled up, and he retired as a Grizzly in April 2011. While the winning version of Jason Williams probably gets the coach's vote, we all know which version the fans love. At his best, Williams had the ability to make people jump out of their seats or embarrass defenders and make them look foolish. Ask Gary Payton, the Sonics great and Williams' teammate on the 2006 championship-winning Heat, saw first-handed White Chocolate's blinding speed and creativity in a fast-break situation. Williams had GP beat so badly, Payton actually tried to trip him. Or, for a second opinion, maybe in the next life, we could ask Kobe Bryant. Bryant was an astute student of the game, but even he succumbed to J. Will's slick passing in transition. When Williams played in the half-court or in transition, everybody is fair game, whether you're an all-time steals leader or the best point guard defender, or anyone in an opponent's uniform. Despite his reputation among the diehards, it does feel like White Chocolate did not reach his full potential. He toned his gung-ho style and played championship basketball in Miami, but there was always this lingering what-if like a pale dark cloud hanging over his head. There was always this notion that he had more style than substance. J. Will was a champion and a fan favorite, but with all that talent, he could have been a lot more. But as mentioned, Williams playing in the late 90s and early 2000s was the basketball equivalent of a square peg in a round hole. He was good enough to tailor his game to a more deliberate style, but anyone could see from a mile away that he likes to play with pace. If he was playing today, maybe he would have added All-Star in his resume, and we'd be talking about how he's better than Darius Garland or Trae Young.